What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down what's happening to the economic calendar this far and what you should be watching for as time progresses. Before I begin to all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with the market. Looking at SPY, this thing is approaching the all-time high, looking very, very strong, but we're starting to reject off 479.5. It's kind of struggling at this resistance. So we're going to be watching to see if this thing could try to break this resistance or not, and how this reacts to all-time highs. But I first want to talk about some data and also what the news is saying before I break down more details about the charts. So today is Friday, January 19th. We actually have some data coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report. This is expected to be between 69 and 70. We have existing home sales, the 5-year inflationary expectations, consumer expectations, and then just a couple of other things, all coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. So watch and see if this causes the market to pump like crazy or get some kind of rejection. Be very careful at 10 a.m. and expect some volatility. Now, on top of this, I just want to mention that we have Barr from the Fed giving a speech after that at 1 p.m. Listen and see what Barr has to say. This could also cause volatility. And then besides that, we have Daly from the Fed giving a speech at 4:15 p.m. All the other pieces of data are kind of minor, not really going to cause anything too crazy. So watch for volatility. The biggest time is going to be 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, right now, the Dow is jumping very, very nicely. The S&P 500 is on the cusp of a new record close. Very, very crazy stuff, guys. Market is still holding up. A couple of things to know about the market. This news just came out. Once again, we're in positive territory for the year. Lots of nice gains that have been coming out, and tech is already pushing very, very nicely as anticipated. On top of this, Nelson Peltz is making his run at the Disney board and laying out exactly how he sees it all going down. This is once again something new for Disney, so if you're interested in trading the stock, that's interesting. There's also some news coming out that department store retailer Macy's is cutting about 2,300 jobs, or 3.5% of its workforce. This is once again what tends to happen in these high interest rate environments. Now we're starting to see a lot of retailers being affected by this, especially after like tech made these announcements earlier as well. Meta is stocking up on Nvidia's powerful AI enabling computer chips, what is going to likely be a multi-billion-dollar effort. The H100 graphics cards, they have record demand right now, and it's very important for the development of AI and future roadmaps. But that's pretty much it for data, at least for now. And I mean, news right now for the morning, nothing too crazy. We have some earnings coming. I'm still waiting for these. I didn't really see them yet. Don't forget, we have Ally Bank. We have Fifth Third Bank, just a few others. They're still about to release earnings. I just want to call these out because, they're very minor. So even if they do release earnings, it's not going to likely affect the market that much. The overall market, I mean, these are all just very, very minor. But just wanted to keep that in mind in case you're interested. SPY has over 3.4 million puts expiring and 2 million calls. The majority positions are once again in puts. So this does incentivize the market to hold up, or at least try to close well above max pain. It's currently at 460. This will be adjusted, but we'll be watching this. There's a 1.71 puts to call ratio too. So what do I see for the levels, guys? Yesterday I said SPY is going to likely try to test this resistance. If we broke this, we're going to be approaching 480. We came super close. Basically, it's very simple. So if we break above this resistance, we have 479.5 to 480. If we do break that, I could see this getting very close to about 481. That's going to be our next target. And then we have 482. Generally, when you break an all-time high, you want to be looking for a pattern in how many points we pump and where we get resistance levels. So assume every dollar level above the all-time high is going to be resistance. So for now, watch 480. It's going to be critical to see how SPY tries to hold here. If we get this rejection, you're going to be watching support around 478. If we lose out, there's 477.5. Minor support at 477. I would say we have 476.5 below that. If we lose this support, we're going to be sinking towards 475. If If we lose 475, I could see it come down towards 473.5. Just some critical supports. Those are the main ones. So watch and see how it reacts. I do believe SPY is going to try to push back this level, grab liquidity. We're going to see a fight up here towards the all-time high. SPY is going to fight. I think they want to break new all-time highs. So watch and see how it reacts towards 480. We want to be very careful because once again, we're about to be entering new territory if we do break that. So I think it's going to attempt to fight. We'll have to see how it goes from there. On the QQQ, this thing is actually broken above 415. I called 415 yesterday. It's actually above that, reached 416. So even harder than expected. If we break 416.6, we're going to be looking for a push to 417-ish. And above that, every dollar tends to be acting as resistance on the QQQ historically. So for instance, right, like right here, we had 410. We slowly went up to 412, 413 resistance, 414 a little resistance here. We actually shot past 415 and we hit 416. So if we do break out, we get above this resistance, this high up here, watch 418. If we break above 418, I think that we'll just get very close to 420. But I'm also going to be watching 419 just for a minor resistance. But basically 420 is our target if we get above 418. For support, make sure you watch 415. If we lose that, we have 414. And if we lose 414, I would say 412 would be our next target down here. And besides that, we have 410. The QQQ is still uptrending. As you can see, it's higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. There's a chance it might retrace a little bit as we open and then try to push up higher. If we break the high of the day right now, we could get very close to 418. It still favors the bulls in terms of the trend. Nvda, this thing is once again broken out again, but it has this gap below. So we'll see if Nvidia ends up losing, 577. If we lose that, we could fill this gap around like 575-ish, then bounce and try to push back up. So see if this causes the market to drop just a bit temporarily before it bounces back up. And watch resistance right now at 580. If it breaks above this, we have minor resistance at 582.25. This is actually very minor. Then we have 585, 587, and 590 above that. Overall, Nvidia has this gap to fill, so it might sink just a little bit more, just a few points, fill this gap, and then bounce. This could cause the QQQ to sell off just a little bit upon open before it tries to bounce and push up even higher. So just be a little bit careful with Nvidia. But overall, the trend on this thing is still bullish. Why is it bullish? Because we're making higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. It's still holding up very, very nicely. So watch and see if this thing sells off a bit and then bounces. Overall, I would say Nvidia could still uptrend very nicely, but make sure you watch support very carefully. In terms of Aapl stock, and that's going to be before I talk about Tesla. Aapl also has this gap. It could retrace a little bit more, but I think that the overall trend is still bullish on Aapl. It's still uptrending technically. And then on top of this, I just want to mention that when you look at Aapl, we also happen to have this gap to fill. We haven't fully filled this gap around 192. So we have resistance at 190, then 192 above that. Watch the 190 area. If we break 190, we have the gap to fill all the way up here to 192 and the 192s. If we fail to break 190, then it could make it a little bit tricky, but I think it's going to eventually fill the gap to 192. So watch and see if we could break 190. If we do manage to hold above 190, there's potential for it to push up to 192. If we fail to hold above 190, then look for a retracement towards 188 and see if it holds around there. So watch support at 188. If we lose that, there's minor support at 177, but then 186.5 is stronger support. If we lose that, 185 is our next target. If we keep breaking out, you want to see it hold 190. If it holds that, our next target is 192. My gut is telling me it's going to try to break out to 192 by next week. But just to be safe, watch and see how it reacts to 190. As of right now, it's holding up very nicely. Now, finally, last but not least, we have Tesla stock. Unfortunately, guys, Tesla is not looking that great. It actually broke its low again in the pre-market. It's very weak, guys. There's no other way for me to put it. But we're seeing some buyers trying to defend 208 around this area. So we're barely at 209 right now. We have resistance around this 210 area. This 210 zone is acting as resistance. If we do break above this, we have 212. You want to see Tesla break above 212 to try to push up to 214. If it breaks 214, if we get above that, we have an imbalance to fill around 216. And if we break above that, 220 is going to be our target, basically, all the way up here. If anything, Tesla's kind of shopping around. we're going to be watching 208. If we lose this, there's potential for it to fall all the way down to 205. And if we lose 205, that's going to be a bad sign for Tesla. Overall, Tesla is looking bearish. It is still looking very weak, but watch and see how it reacts to this resistance. I'm going to be watching 208. I think it might sell off a little bit, backtest this, and we'll see if this holds. We might just chop around a bit, but overall, Tesla is still looking very weak despite this potential choppy price action. So I'm seeing lots of sideways price action within this range right here between around 210, just trading around that for now. But it is still looking kind of weak, guys, so be very, very careful. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Unfortunately, Tesla's looking relatively weak, but make sure you watch your levels, and it looks like it might just chop around the 210 area for now. It might not do much, so we'll watch and see how it goes. But with that being said, have a great Friday, guys. Take care. Watch for volatility at 10 o'clock a.m., and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you, and peace out.